Loran and Void. Loran stepped into the world with purpose, her will slicing through the thin skin between realities. She arrived as only a true wielder could, not summoned or forced, but choosing to be here. Her bare feet touched down on polished wood, the air around her holding that strange hush of a place unvisited for a very long time. She took it in, the immaculate room, the golden light pouring through impossible windows, the painted perfection of the lake and forest beyond. The place was beautiful, but it was the sort of beauty that tried too hard, as if it didn't know what real living felt like. She walked to the window, her steps silent, her presence warping the air. Here in this abandoned world, the place where hell threw away things too dangerous to destroy, she shone like a star. Loran knew this was a prison, a world meant to be forgotten. But she'd come anyway. Helping broken places and lost things was what she did. She let her light bleed outward, subtle but undeniable, a ripple through the fabric of the world. No spirits greeted her, no echoes of past souls haunted the corners. She felt nothing but the thin, hungry press of emptiness. Loran smiled to herself. "Well, this is new," she said aloud, her tone flippant, as if she were commenting on the weather instead of the void. The air shifted, and something ancient and clever woke up in the shadows. She felt it. Curiosity, surprise, a ripple of hunger. Then a voice, smooth as silk and twice as dangerous, drifted out from behind her. "Now what are you?" it mused, the words curling with a hint of laughter. "You didn't fall in. You walked." Loran didn't turn yet. "Well spotted. I tend to make an entrance." "This your place, then?" "Cozy." A figure stepped from the darkness by the bed, tall and broad-shouldered, shifting between forms as if trying on masks. For a split second, Loran caught flashes, a grinning demon, a beautiful woman, something that might have been a god once and then nothing at all. The face settled into a man's, handsome and dangerous, eyes bright with mischief and cruelty. He smiled, teeth too white, too sharp. "I suppose you could call it mine. Most who end up here aren't so deliberate." His gaze flicked over her, lingering on the corona of light she wore like a crown. "You're not from hell. I would have noticed." "Thank the stars for that," Loran shot back, lips curling in a smirk. "I don't do well with authority." He laughed, a deep sound that echoed through the empty house. "Neither do I. That's why they left me here." His voice dropped, almost a whisper. "You walked into a place made to hold monsters, goddess. Why?" She shrugged, never breaking eye contact. "I help places like this. Usually there's someone left to rescue." Her tone softened, just a touch. "Doesn't look like there's anyone but you." He moved closer, circling her, never taking his eyes off her face. "You're not afraid. You should be. Do you know what I am?" Loran turned to face him fully. "I know what you're not. For one, you're not as scary as you think." She let her power flare, just a sliver, enough to make the room feel smaller. "I've loved a man who laughs in the face of gods. I don't startle easy." Void's grin widened, devilish and delighted. "Dante, lucky mortal. Or is he?" She arched an eyebrow, sass in every line of her stance. "Luck's got nothing to do with it. He keeps up. Sometimes." He laughed again, a sound that was equal parts hunger and amusement. "You're different. Everything sent here, demons, angels, gods, none lasted. I ate them all. You, though." He leaned in, his voice softening, almost kind. "You walked in on purpose. Why risk that?" Loran's eyes flashed. "Because I can. And because places like this, places full of old pain, don't scare me. Besides, I get bored." Void's shape flickered. Horns, wings, a storm of faces, then back to the handsome man with cruel eyes. "Boredom. That's a new one." His tone turned sly, almost admiring. "Tell me, Loran, what do you want here? You can't save me, and I don't want saving." She cocked her head, thoughtful. "Maybe I'm not here for you. Maybe I'm here for this world, Or maybe I'm just here for the view." She grinned, letting her light shimmer brighter. "You don't get lakes like that in hell." Void moved closer, a shadow at the edge of her radiance. "I could eat you, you know. That's what I do. That's why this place is empty." Loran stepped forward, her light flaring, meeting his darkness without fear. "Try," she teased, her voice laced with daring. But I bite back. For a moment, Void's mask slipped. Pure curiosity, genuine, childlike, flashed across his face. No one's ever just walked in before. They always beg, they always scream. His voice softened, almost wistful. "You really aren't afraid." Loran's smile was gentle, almost sad. "I've seen what real monsters look like. Usually they're the ones pretending to be gods." She let silence stretch a moment, her eyes locked on his. "So, Void, are you going to show me what makes this place worth keeping, or are you just going to try and scare me?" Void considered her, the house flickering around them as his mood shifted. "I could show you everything," he whispered, "but it might break you." Loran's laughter was bright and sharp as glass. "Honey, I break worlds for breakfast." He grinned, something ancient and wild in his expression. "Then let's see who breaks first." The room darkened, the lake outside turning black, the air thick with possibility. Loran stood at the center, unshaken, her light holding steady against the encroaching gloom. For the first time in an eternity, Void felt something he thought he'd eaten long ago, hope, or maybe just excitement. Either way, neither of them would be bored. Part 2. Silence hung between them, charged and fragile. Loran watched Void with open curiosity, her light pulsing softly, illuminating the edges of the perfect room. She felt the world settle into a tense equilibrium, his darkness pressed in from every side, her radiance gently but stubbornly holding it at bay. Outside, the lake rippled once, as if the universe itself was shivering. Void broke the silence first. "You're not afraid, but you should be. I could erase you with a thought." He stepped closer, his form flickering. Sometimes man, sometimes shadow, sometimes a glimmer at the edge of her vision. "But you fascinate me, goddess. Do you really think you can change this place?" Loran let herself relax, leaning a hip against the window frame. "Maybe, maybe not. But I'm not here to fix you. I'm here because I go where I'm needed, even if the world doesn't know it yet." She tilted her head, lips quirking. "And maybe because I was curious. You're not what I expected, a monster with manners." Void's laugh was low, almost sad. The house darkened to shade, as if dusk had come early. "I can be anything," he said. "Kind, cruel, beautiful, terrible. It's all the same eventually." His eyes lingered on her, hungry, hopeful. "But you're real in a way nothing here has been for a very long time." Loran felt the truth of it. Her senses stretched out again. Everything, the air, the light, the floor beneath her feet, throbbed with Void's essence. She was inside him, in a way. The realization made her heart beat faster, but she refused to let it show. "Doesn't it get lonely?" she asked, voice soft. "Being everything and nothing?" Void's smile turned brittle. "Lonely?" He flicked a wrist, and the lake outside boiled. Forests flickered to ash and regrew. Stars winked into existence overhead. "I devour loneliness with everything else. I am all there is here. But—" He hesitated, some rawness in his voice. "You're not like them. You didn't come screaming. You came shining, and you still shine." Loran watched the world flicker and shift, the rules changing at his whim. She wondered what it would be like to lose yourself so deeply in power, to be the prison and the prisoner both. "Maybe that's why I'm not afraid," she said. "You're not hiding anymore. You want to be seen." He drew closer, his presence suddenly gentle, almost pleading. "Stay," he said, the word barely more than a breath. "Let me be something to you, something besides a monster." Loran's heart ached just a little. You can be anything you want, Void. But you can't be Dante. Her words were soft, apologetic, but unwavering. A shadow crossed Void's face, the walls of the room shuddering with it. Dante, Dante, always Dante. Bitterness crept in, sharp and cold. You love him more than your own safety, more than your own life. Loran's eyes flashed. That's what makes me dangerous. She stepped forward, her aura rising, golden and defiant. I know what I'd die for. Do you? Void recoiled, then steadied himself. For a moment his shape faltered. He was a child, an old man, a beast, then nothing at all. When he spoke again, his voice was smaller. I don't remember. I've been too many things, eaten too many selves. I thought power was enough. The admission hung in the air, raw and real. Loran reached out, almost touching him. It never is, she whispered. Not for gods, not for monsters, not for anyone. Void stood there, silent, the world trembling faintly around them. Then, slowly, he lifted his head. What if I let you go? He asked, voice trembling with a hope so fragile it threatened to break the world. What if I let you leave just to see if you'd come back? Loran smiled, fierce and tender. I always come back when I'm needed. For the first time, Void let the darkness ease. The sun brightened, the lake stilled. Loran felt the world breathe, a living thing, alive with possibility. Neither said another word. They simply stood, light and shadow, hope and hunger, facing the impossible future together. Part 3. The room, for all its perfection, felt suddenly close, too bright, too small for two beings with nowhere else to go. Loran watched Void's shifting expression, the hunger and hope at war beneath his skin. She knew now for certain, if she left, he'd be free to follow her. A mimic with power enough to break worlds locked in a pocket universe, hell's own patchwork cage. He'd warn every soul that had ever been sent here, and if he ever got out, she couldn't leave. Not yet. You want to see the lake? She asked, breaking the silence. Or do you want to show me something? Void hesitated, as if unused to being invited. With a little flicker, almost a bow, he gestured toward the door. After you, goddess. His voice was velvet, but the way he watched her was anything but soft. Loran led the way, her senses tuned to every shift in the air. The house let them go easily, the world outside waiting as though it had been holding its breath. She let her feet sink into the velvet grass at the water's edge. The lake stretched out before her, its surface unnaturally still, reflecting a sky that seemed painted for her arrival. Each ripple that did appear, she realized, was a subtle echo of Void's mood. He followed, his form settling into something almost human, tall, dark, handsome, but always with that sense of too much packed into too little. The trees rustled, though there was no wind. Loran felt his presence in the water, the earth, the watching sky. She knelt and touched the surface. The water was warm, as if welcoming her or warning her. You made all this, she said, not a question. Void nodded, sitting beside her on the shore, knees drawn up like a child. I built it to keep myself company, or maybe just to keep myself from breaking completely. He looked at her sidelong, eyes shifting between colors. You don't intend to leave, do you? Loran answered simply, if I go, you go. I can't risk that. She watched the tension twist across his face. But I'm not your jailer, Void. I'm just not ready to gamble with the worlds beyond. He let the words settle, then smirked, a flicker of cruelty in his smile. So you'll stay? Play my guest, my warden, my distraction? How long before you tire of pretending you're not afraid? She met his gaze, unblinking. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of what you could become out there. Her voice softened, almost gentle. But I'll stay. I want to know who you are, not just what you've done. Void leaned back on his elbows, eyes on the painted sky. That's a dangerous question, goddess. I've been everyone and everything. A king, a demon, a child left in the dark. I could be Dante if you wanted. He let his face shift, just for a heartbeat, to the man Loran loved. She shook her head, her power flaring in a brief warning. Don't. I know what's real. He shifted back, a glimmer of respect in his eyes. You're different. Most who come here want a lie, or mercy, or death. He trailed his fingers through the grass, and every blade bent toward him. But you want truth and time, Loran said. She watched the sky, how it never fully turned to dusk. I'll stay until I know you. Until I decide what comes next. Void was silent, the lake rippling at his command. Loran felt the world contract and expand as if testing her resolve. She let him, holding her ground with a quiet grace that only gods have. You are not what I expected, Void finally murmured, voice a low thread of longing and danger. No one has ever stayed willingly. No one has ever wanted to know me. Loran let herself smile, a touch of sadness, a touch of steel. Then let's see what happens when someone does. They sat together on the edge of that impossible lake, the world holding its breath around them, darkness and light tangled tight, neither yielding, neither letting go. Part 4. They sat in uneasy silence, the lake mirroring their shapes in ripples that never quite stilled. Loran watched Void, the flickers of old pain behind his shifting eyes, the way his form sometimes blurred, as if memory itself threatened to undo him. She waited, patient as only a god could be, letting him be the one to break the quiet. Void's hand hovered over the water, fingers trailing just above the surface. The lake responded, blooming with darkness and light, shapes that twisted and dissolved before Loran's eyes. For a moment he looked impossibly young, just a boy lost in a world he couldn't control. Do you remember your beginning? He asked suddenly, voice raw and thin. Loran considered, then nodded. Every world, every first step, every choice, even the ones I wish I could forget. Void's gaze was far away, fixed on some point deep in the water. I wasn't always this, he said. This devourer, this mimic. He flexed his left hand, then stilled. I was a child, once, hungry in a world that fed only the strong. Something rippled through the trees, old memory, rising. There was an orchard, Void whispered. Bright as hope, forbidden, like everything sweet used to be. I stole an apple, just one. I didn't even want it for myself, I wanted it for my sister. She was smaller, sicker. I thought a single kindness could change the world. He fell silent, the lake trembling at his confession. Loran watched him, not with pity, but with a fierce, patient attention. They caught me, Void said quietly. The men with blades and black robes, they took my hand. He held up the stump of his left wrist for a moment, his form refused to heal. I bled out in the mud beneath that tree. That was my end, my first end. The sun above them flickered, the world shivering on the edge of dusk and dawn. I went down, down, down into the dark, he murmured. Hell was new then, raw. The devil himself didn't know what to do with us. I was one of the first. They made an example of me. I learned to steal other things, faces, voices, power. I learned to eat so I wouldn't be eaten. Loran's voice was gentle but unyielding. That was your sin? The theft of an apple? Void laughed, bitter and bright. Kindness is always punished first, goddess. The rest came after. He looked at her, truly looked, and Loran saw the child in him, the thief, the martyr, the monster made by men and gods alike. She reached out, touching the air near his ruined hand, her light softening. Maybe you can change, Void. Maybe you're not finished. The world held its breath. The water stilled. Void's form steadied as he met her gaze, something like hope flickering in the endless dark. Stay then, he managed, his voice trembling. "Stay a while longer. I want to remember who I was before." Loran nodded, resolute. "I'm not going anywhere. Not until we find out." And so they sat by the lake, a goddess in an ancient sin, while the world, for the first time in ages, dared to hope for something more. Part 5. They sat with Void's memory between them, the lake smoothing itself as if to listen. Loran watched the way his form stabilized, less monstrous now, more haunted human. She let the silence linger, then took a slow, deliberate breath. The world responded, the sunlight shifting to gold at her back. "You're not the only one who remembers their first sin," she said, her voice low and even. "Gods aren't born from light alone. We're made from the things we do and the things we wish we hadn't." Void turned to her, curiosity burning. "And what did you do, goddess?" Loran's eyes went distant. "I broke a world once on purpose, watched it burn so something better could grow in its place. I thought I was wise, I thought I was right, but I still dream of that night sometimes, the sound of it ending, the silence that followed." She let her words trail away, the memory old but never dulled. Her light dimmed just a shade, as if in mourning. "Difference is," she continued quietly, "I get to keep moving, fixing things, maybe making up for it. You were trapped for a kindness. I was freed for a crime." Void watched her, a strange sympathy in his dark eyes. "We're both what the universe made us." Loran offered a small, wry smile. "Or what we made ourselves." She looked out across the lake, letting her senses stretch. The world here was thick with Void's essence, but she felt it now, something else, thin and spectral, clinging to the edge of her awareness. A flicker in the trees, a shadow just out of sight. Her gaze sharpened, the god light in her eyes shifting. "We're not alone, you know," she said softly, almost in warning. Void stiffened, surprise flickering across his face. For the first time, Loran saw uncertainty in him, a ripple of unease, but Loran just smiled, her hand resting on the grass, steady and sure. "Let them watch. I'm not done yet." And as the sun hovered and the water stilled, the two ancient beings sat side by side, united by confession, divided by fate, while somewhere in the distance a silent witness waited for the world to change. Part 6. The lake's surface trembled. Loran's senses sharpened, her light coiling tight around her heart. A shape broke loose from the tree line, impossibly fast, impossibly familiar. Dante. Her Dante, eyes wide, reaching for her. "Loran," he shouted, voice cracking with desperation. "We have to go, now." Before she could react, his arms wrapped around her, lifting her off the ground. The world lurched as he ran, the wind screaming past. Behind them, the grass split, shadows boiling up, and Void's roar shook the sky, a sound so deep it made the earth shudder. "Dante?" Loran gasped, twisting to look back. The house was shrinking fast, the lake a smear of black behind them. Void was coming, no longer a man but a nightmare, a beast of jaws and hands and wings, all teeth and hunger, tearing through the world he'd built. "Don't look back," Dante panted, holding her close. "You have to trust me. He's too strong here. He's trapped you already, but I got through. Please, Loran, let me get you out. Let's go home." Her heart stuttered. Home. The word struck her like a blow. She let herself believe, just for a heartbeat, Dante, her anchor, her heart, rescuing her from the jaws of a monster. She felt the pull, the ache of old love and old safety. But something was wrong. The ground changed beneath them. Now a forest, now a field, now a stretch of white sand. Loran stumbled in his grip, the world flickering at the edges. Dante's hand was too tight, too warm. He was breathing too quickly, his voice pitched wrong, a word tumbling out that Dante would never say. "We'll outrun him, Loran. I promise. I'll never let you fall behind." She stopped cold. The real Dante never ran. He always turned to fight. He never said fall behind. He always said, we stand together. She jerked free, twisting in his grip, her eyes burning with sudden understanding. You're not him, she whispered. You're not Dante. The world froze. The thing wearing Dante's face looked at her, eyes wide, mouth trembling. The illusion shattered. The skin slid away, and in its place was Void, not as the beast behind them, but as something smaller, sadder. A fragment of the monster, desperate and afraid. Void fell to his knees, his form flickering between Dante, a child, and a broken shadow. I was trying to save you, he rasped. Not from me, but from what I can't control. The part of me that devours everything. I thought if I could get you far enough away, maybe you'd have a chance. Behind them, the true Void, vast, monstrous, staggered to a halt, its many eyes shining with pain, not rage. Loran's heart twisted. She stepped between the two Voids, light blazing, her voice gentle but resolute. You don't have to run from yourself. Not with me here. The smaller Void looked up, hope and terror warring in his eyes. You'd stay, even now? Loran nodded, her power steady, her love for Dante anchoring her, but her compassion reaching even here. I'll stay until you remember who you were. All of you. The monstrous Void shrank, the world slowly settling. Loran knelt and took Void's fractured hand, her light wrapping them both in a promise as old as God's. And somewhere she knew, the real Dante was waiting, trusting her to do what only she could, bring light even to the darkest places, and face the monsters no one else could bear to love. Part 7. The world held its breath as Loran faced the monstrous form that towered over the trembling fragment at her feet. The air thickened, charged with fury and need. Void's darker selves, unmasked and unashamed, boiling up from the earth he ruled. The beast before her was not one thing, but many, a shifting, hulking mass of teeth and eyes, mouths twisted in rage, limbs slick with shadow. Its voice, when it came, was thunder and venom and longing all at once. You think you can save me, it roared, its tone filling the sky. You, burning candle, little goddess, do you know what it means to be trapped with yourself for eternity? Loran stood her ground, light flaring brighter in the darkness. Her heart pounded, but she refused to flinch. I know what it means to survive your own worst moments, to carry what you hate and still move forward. The beast advanced, its many heads writhing, each speaking in turn. One spat hate. You pity me. Another sneered with pride. You are nothing here, eh? Third, voice thick with lust. You could be mine if you'd only give in. Anger, pride, hate, and hunger circled her, each a form, each a threat. Beside her, the smaller Void, the one with the eyes of the child, the shadow of the man, rose shakily to his feet. His voice was thin but determined. She's not here for you. She's here for me. I brought her. The monstrous heads turned, laughter booming between them. You are nothing. They sneered at the smaller Void. Weakness, compassion, love. All the scraps left behind when we learned what it really took to survive hell. Loran's eyes narrowed, piecing together the truth. You split yourself, she said. You tore your soul apart, left the parts hell didn't want to eat out here in the light, and let the rest become this. Pride lifted its head, preening. Emotions are tools. Hell taught us which were weapons and which were weights. Anger lashed closer, jaws snapping. You think you can chain us again, goddess? You think light is enough? Loran's light pulsed, not as a weapon but as a shield. I'm not here to chain you. I'm here to remind you, you were one. Once, even in hell, every part of you was real. Void, the smaller fragment, stepped forward, his shadow trembling. I remembered stealing the apple, the blood, the hand, the pain, but I forgot how to want anything but to survive. I needed her to remember for me, Lust's voice slithered through the air, hungry and mocking. She can't save you. She's only here because she can't leave. Loran ignored the taunt, eyes fixed on Void. You have to choose, Void. You can't hide from yourself forever. Compassion isn't weakness, and neither is love. If you want to be whole, you have to face them, all of them. The monster reared up, rage and pride blending into a hurricane of darkness. Why should we? Loran stepped forward, her voice ringing clear. Because without them, you're still a prisoner. No matter how big you make your cage. The world shuddered, night pressing in. Loran reached out, her hand open, not to strike but to offer. The smaller Void stared at her, then at his monstrous selves trembling on the edge of decision. And in that moment, as the darkness teetered, Loran stood as the heart of the storm, brighter than the prison, stronger than the hate, waiting, unbroken, for the choice only Void could make. In the distance, the others, the echoes of his other selves, the remnants of all he'd been, began to stir, drawn by the light and the promise of something neither hell nor gods had ever allowed, forgiveness and the chance to be whole.